Let's talk about following trends in game dev. This is a hot topic right now. There are people that are speaking out in favor of following trends, seeing what genres are successful right now and making what's called a fast follow. And there are people that are speaking out against trying to do this. And I think there are good arguments on both sides. But I will not make this a philosophical discussion. I actually want to talk the practical side of it because I decided to give it a try and see what happens. So I tried designing something in the idle game slash auto battler genres as kind of like a prototype or a game jam game. And I had the idea a couple of weeks ago, and I actually prototyped it and developed the idea a little bit yesterday with the intention of finishing it in a weekend at most. And I'm going to talk about how that went. But first, let me pitch you the actual game. So the game idea is it's Space Invaders, but you're the invaders, and it's an idle game and an auto battler, so you don't actually play it. The game plays itself, and what you do is you recruit aliens slash invaders for your team, and you upgrade your invaders, and the battles just play themselves out. And after each battle, you get to recruit or upgrade. And I also I one genre that seems to be picking up is this desktop, bottom of your desktop kind of game. I don't think the genre has a cool name yet. But it seems to be within the idle game subgenre. Wow, this is a strong blue. I did not expect that. Okay. And we could call the genre desk slop, for desktop. As people are calling the multiplayer games friend slop right now. So we could call the bottom of our desktop desk slop games. Anyway. So I thought of something like this. It's Space Invaders that sits at the bottom or side of your desktop and plays itself out. Okay, my experience designing this. I had a bunch of ideas for the auto battler part of the game, right? The ships would have like different attributes, like they could have shields that activate, and when they get shot, the shields are shot down. But you can they can regenerate those shields. You can have stuff like that. These are strong colors, man. I don't know how I'm going to blend this. And I also thought about all kinds of damage types. So burn, poison, health regeneration, different speeds for different aliens and ships, freeze, slow, criticals, right? You have this kind of thing in an auto battler, but the balance work of all that would be insane. And for a weekend, I realized, wow, this is not really viable in terms of making content and balancing stuff. And I kind of cut all of that. Okay, it's not going to have all that. So how can it be fun without all that? It's a hard problem. I wanted to blend somehow, but I'm making it worse. Anyway, the the other thing that the game has is like this aspect of idler, and I do not play idle games. I I do not have an interest in them, so it was pretty hard trying to design that. And as I researched a tiny bit on things like ascension and prestige in idle games, and I was just so uninterested in that. It was so all those design tropes just seem so uninspiring to me. It's like, why as a player would I want to, end my run and start a new run with what I can do faster? I just I could not really understand that kind of play. It did not seem fun to me. It did not spark any ideas. So I kind of cut all the I cut any idle mechanics, so there would be no meta progression, right? So it's like, okay, I stripped down the design as much as I could because either it was just not feasible or it did not seem fun. Even the auto battler stuff did not seem very fun to me, even if I had managed to design it well and fully. So it's just trying to get to the core what would make the prototype interesting, right? And um, another thing that I cut was the idea of the human spaceship, right? Which is usually the player in Space Invaders, but you're playing as the alien. So I would need that to be some like AI controlled. So I need to make an AI, and I tried a little bit, make a spaceship that moves and tries to fire at the stuff. Mm, I I went a little bit for that, but I was having trouble because it's harder um, than I thought. And all of these problems are solvable, right? You can have a player spaceship that has an AI that does things correctly. It's not impossible to do that, but I would get pretty lazy with this stuff. I'm not usually a lazy developer, but I would be like, I could do this, but I don't think it would be amazing. And I would just be like demotivated. It's like, yeah, I don't really want to go through the effort of doing this, and because even if I go through the effort, I don't think it's going to be that good. That was my general mindset when trying to design in that way. This is still very wet. I wonder if there's a way to blend this a little bit more. If I use like just water, it just wets it. If I drag it over, blends a little bit, but it's not an amazing effect. It kind of makes it more like clear. I wonder if you have to blend it initially, Otherwise, it just gets very ethereal, It's just weird. Still, still learning how to deal with this. Anyway, um, yeah. So I realized that I can't design very much in a space that I don't care about, and it was hard to answer the deeper design questions of like what would be fun, what would make this game interesting, what make the player tick right now, because I'm not that player. It's like, so it's like, I don't know, I could add this, I could add that, like I would have this design ideas. It's like, which of this would work, which this would be actually, good to implement. Like, I don't know. I don't know. So then that's a really bad place to be as a designer, because then you're like, you're in the dark. I was in the dark, at least. And any that was from a design perspective, and then that was the motivation perspective, which was like, I would I was just, any little hardship, any problems that I would see. I'm trying to dry the thing. Any hardships that I would see, like, I would just not want to push forward. I did not care enough. It was like, oh, this is going to take a little bit of time, and even a little bit of time seems to me like, wow, this is not worth solving. My brain will really shut down and not bother trying to solve some of those problems. So yeah, very 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 hard to design when you're not a fan of the genre, when you're not into the genre. Oh, I got it too. I got the paper too wet. Now it's bloating out. It's too bad. So okay, don't. The lesson here is, don't try to blend with water at the end. There's a better solution. Um. Anyway, the I think that for the design, there's something that I fundamentally lack for designing something like this, the Space Invaders that sits at the bottom of your desktop and plays itself out. I think that I just don't have the references, I don't have the interest, I don't have the taste, the playtime in the genre. I lack so many ingredients that would be needed to make this specific game. And what I could do, like, to try to mitigate this problem, was reducing the scope, right? Reduce the scope, because then I could get to something feasible, right? Something that at least I could finish, and that's what I did. So I do have a scope that I think I could finish this weekend, and I would have a game. I don't know if it would be a good game, but I would have a game. It would be there. It would exist, and people would play it, and they could let me know if it's any good at all, because it's hard for me to tell. Um, and I still, even then, even with such a small reduced scope, like to the minimum, and all that, I'm still unsure about whether I will finish it or not. Um, there's still a couple of days I could work on that, see where it goes. um, but I don't know if I will. I don't know if I have the motivation. I don't know if it's worth doing. That's just something that I'm gonna have to think about and decide. And we will see what happens. So yeah, conclusion for should you make trendy games. Well, what do you want to do? That's the important question. It's not what you should do, it's what do you want. And here's the watercolor for today. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Thank you, and bye bye.